teamwork that counts. Slick pit stops and staying on are essential at the front. Here, reliability, fitness and stamina are the keys to success. This is the 2001 FIM Endurance World Championship. Six, 8 and 24-hour classics still to come. The season opening Le Mans 24-hour was dominated by French teams. The GMT94 team took the honours on the new super production GSXR 1000 Suzuki. With double points awarded for 24-hour races, the GMT team were ecstatic to pick up 50 well-earned points. A great way to start the season, and already the Suzuki seems to be the bike to be on.
Again, it was the GMT94 Suzuki team that was strong, taking pole position from the factory Suzuki Castrol outfit.
Very happy because we win the Le Mans 24 hours race. It's a great race in France and in the world. And for the first time here, I think it's okay because we work very hard, we push very hard in the qualified practice, and we make pole position, and good job for the team, and it's very good for the sponsors.
The new super production Suzuki is taking the top 5 positions, with the first world superbike machine, the Replay Racing team, in 6.
Race day at Brno, and after a dry qualifying, heavy overnight rain meant the riders were greeted by a greasy track. Correct tyre choice was crucial. With the first pit stop approximately 45 minutes into the race, the majority of the teams fitted intermediates. As the race start grew closer, the tension on the grid increased. Both riders and team managers hoping they'd made the correct tyre choice. It's Stefan Mertens.
So as the riders get ready for the green light, it's a sprint across to the bikes. Mechanics getting those bikes ready to jump on, fire them up in first gear, and away they go. It's hard enough getting off of the start line in a straight line, but when you're coming off the pit wall there in these very tricky conditions, it's a real nightmare. But they get into the corner, and it's a good start there from the Castrol team. They're away on their Suzuki, but a very poor start from the pole position GMT team. Here as they come over the top of the hill. Brian Morrison leads into the first of the left-handers, and again just taking it. N.Dussauge was squeezing everything from the Suzuki, trying to make up for a team mistake at the start of the race.
We have lost a lot of time in our first relay because the tire was not very and my choice is also not very good for the first relay.
In the third hour, the GMT94 team paid the price for running wide and creating an opportunity to be overtaken. Warwick Nolan needed no invitation to slip up the inside. The only problem, Scarnato had the same piece of track in mind. The replay shows just how wide a line Scarnato took. With Nolan already committed to the inside line, it left the GMT rider nowhere to go except the side of Nolan's Zhongzhen Suzuki. The crash left the Frenchman with an injured ankle. He was at least able to lift the bike and return to the pits. The bike didn't appear to be too seriously damaged. With time of the essence, the repairs were frantic, and it was revealed that Scarnato was in no shape to return to the track. C.Guyot took over. Amazingly, they had only lost 3 laps. They were now back in 11th position. Sébastien Scarnato nursed his injured ankle and would take no further
superbike. Trouble also at the GMT94 camp. In the closing stages, the Suzuki began to blow smoke. With no more scheduled stops, it was a race to the flag, and the superbike competitors consolidated their positions. The Team 22 Police National bike easily led the stock sport class. The early signs of smoke from the GMT94 machine had turned into a major worry for the other riders, with a possibility of oil on the track. With less than 10 minutes to the checkered flag, a decision had to be made. Scarnato and Guyot were arguing not only with each other, but with the team manager as well. In the end, the correct decision was made. They brought the bike in. This was the final nail in the coffin for the GMT team. An incorrect tyre choice at the start, a crash midway through the race, and then the oil leak put paid to any chances of a rostrum finish after such a brilliant qualifying effort that saw them start from pole.
With one win apiece, the championship is all tied up, while Honda Elf lead the Superbike category and the Stock Sport category is led by Team 22 Police. Their victory in Brno was simply stunning. But this is endurance racing and literally anything can happen. The pressure of pit stops can make or break a team, and the energy-sapping distance at high speed eventually takes its toll. Time is of the essence and teamwork is paramount. Welcome to round 3 of the 2001 Endurance World Championship from Brands Hatch. Reliability, speed. After 2 rounds, the Castrol Suzuki team lead the Super Production class by 4 points. Hot on their heels is another French team, the GMT94 group.
Also pushing for a podium is the Zhongshan team of current world champions, Stefan Mertens and Warwick Noland.
I've never won a world endurance race, so I'd love to win.
In a superb performance, the top 4 bikes were separated by less than 3/10 of a second. In the Superbike class, Herman a unique characteristic of endurance racing is the start. The organisers have kept the renowned Le Mans-style start a feature, and the fans love it. All 37 bikes got away cleanly and were vaguely spread out by the time they'd hit Paddock Hill Bend. Zhongshan's Stefan Merton, the Superbike class, where 750cc 4-cylinder and 1000cc twin-cylinder machines are allowed. Unlike the Super Production bikes, these machines can be highly modified. It's only the frame, crankcases, cylinder head and barrels of the original bike that need to be retained to meet regulations. And the third category is the Stock Sport, that has the same engine capacity as Super Production and the same engine modifications can be done. But you can beef up the clutch and make minor chassis adjustments. This is more like your average showroom bike. So there you have it, 3 classes in the race, so let's get back to the race.
Stefan Mertens continued to lead the early laps of the 6-hour sprint, but while he was performing faultlessly, it was another Suzuki team that ran into trouble. On lap 5, phase 1's Igor German was battling for second with GMT94 Sébastien Scarnato. The pair approached Druid. Scarnato rammed the back of German, sending the Slovakian Suzuki rider into the gravel. Frustratingly, he had to return to the pits for a new rear wheel. By the time he had picked the bike out of the trap and had a new rear wheel inserted, he returned to the track a full lap down. "20 laps later, and whilst in second place, Scarnato paid the price for being in too much of a hurry. Approaching clearways, the Frenchman lost control of his GSX-R 1000 and literally bit the dust. For such a fast corner, the GMT94 rider was lucky to escape uninjured. The only consolation was that pit lane entry was directly opposite where he'd left the track. It was Scarnato's second crash in as many rounds, both of them while the team were in a strong position. The bike needed a fair amount of repair, and the clock and laps ticked away. Scarnato briefed teammate N.Dussauge on the track conditions, as the Frenchman was the next out on the bike. A new fairing and a great deal of air blasting work to remove the vast amounts of sand, and the bike was like new. It was extremely costly though, as the championship contenders had dropped from second and within metres of Mertens to 26th and 4 laps down. By the end of the first hour...
Another incident caused the safety car to enter the circuit for the second occasion. During its time on the course, several riders broke the rules and overtook other riders. One rider penalised was Scarnato. At the time, the Frenchman was in 5th overall. The GMT94 team surely unimpressed with his performance after crashing earlier in the day as well.
It's never like this, but we must wait to pass the finish line. But for me it's incredible because I have overtake just when he go in the pit. So immediately I put gas and I overtake. So I don't really understand.
The 5th hour saw a terrible crash involving the leading superbike outfit, the Duca team. It appeared as though the Frenchman entered clearways too fast and ultimately paid the price. At the end of the Brands Hatch round, the first 5 positions were dominated by the all-conquering GSXR Suzukis, taking the overall win and Super Production. After 3 rounds, the Super Production standings, the Suzuki Castrol team extend their lead from 4 points to 18. GMT94 still second, and Zhongshan now outright third.
All these disciplines, the French-based Castrol-Suzuki combination. In anyone's seat for the next round of the World Endurance Championship. At the moment, the Castrol-Suzuki team lead the way with 90 points for France, GMT94 after their win in Le Mans as second, and the Zhongshan team at third overall.
Third on the grid, the Le Mans winner French GMT94 team on another Suzuki GSXR 1000, led by N.Dussauge. They were having engine problems in the session.
Yeah, very happy because we had a little problem with the engine in the qualify, and we don't push hard, very hard for make time, and we just work, not push hard, and I think it's very good for the race.
Qualifying dominated by the Super Production class Suzuki's Zhongshan team leading the way. The top superbike is the Bolliger team, down in 8th position. Le Mans winners GMT94, third on the grid. And start rider Sébastien Scarnato hoping that his luck would change after several crashes already this the start. A traditional Le Mans style start to get the race underway.
Leathers, helmets and race boots certainly don't make this an easy beginning to the race for the riders.
And as they go away, it's the pole position of Zhongshan who lead the rest of the field into that first corner. 56 bikes, a huge field, and many of them German teams hoping to make the most of their local track knowledge. Helmut Dahn and ex-Grand Prix rider Joachim Schmidt among the German contingent, all vying for honours.
There are 16 permanent teams in all, in 4 categories. The Super Production is the most popular and dominant so far, this being the first season for this category. It's the right choice, but a tough decision to make for a team manager, and especially hard for the rider.
The French team GMT94 running second after the first hour. After 2 hours, the GMT94 team lead the way, and are now siding their way through the back markers. It's a definite improvement on their last 2 outings.
Yeah, for sure, I'm very happy because the 2 last race we have do some mistakes and we have some small problems also. And this time it's the other bike have do some mistakes. And in the beginning of the race, in the team we have say if we do 2, second or third, it's good. And now we can maybe 1. So for sure we are very happy.
The GMT94 team with the 3 Frenchmen, C.Guyot, Sébastien Scarnato and N.Dussauge are still leading after 3 hours. They're a lap clear of second place Zhongshan.
Yes, now we are first. We are leading the race. It's very good. Now it's not very hard for us because the Suzuki official had a problem with the crash, and we have a good opportunity to take big points for the World Cup Championship. And it's very good for us to prove that we have won the 24 hours of Le Mans, and it's very important for us to try to win another race before the end of the season.
GMT94 continue to push hard in the lead after 4 hours, and after some unfortunate problems at Brno and Brands, they looked as though they'd regained the form that allowed them to win at Le Mans.
We are very happy because we have in first position Median Suzuki official Suzuki crash with another rider, and it's good for us. The luck turn. Brno is the same problem for us after now. Suzuki official, okay, it's good. It's the life, the race.
Guyot is obviously happy to be leading, but would prefer that they were winning without the others crashing and having problems.
But being in the race at the end is all part of the battle in endurance racing. Flawless work by both the riders and the team are what adds up to success. Once again, the team get the bike back into the race very quickly.
So after 5 hours, a dominant lead then by GMT94, the French team. Looking good.
I would prefer to battle the Suzuki on the track, if it's possible. I think here perhaps it was not so easy. They are very, very fast. But we are not so far. And yes, for sure, I hope that very early I will battle the Suzuki 11 on the track.
Into the closing stages, and championship leaders Castrol Suzuki team, after a crash and disastrous start to the race, have clawed their way back to 7th.
Yeah, you can't afford to give anything away in a 6-hour race. It's always tight. We've dropped back to 35th or something, and we've clawed our way back up to 7th place, so we've got to be happy with that.
Foils went to the brilliant ride by the GMT94 team, who take another win for their amazing super production class on the potent new Suzuki GSXR 1000. An excellent effort by Guyot, Sébastien Scarnato and N.Dussauge. A dominant win then by the GMT94 team. They finish 1 lap ahead of the Zhongshan Team B. But the A team of Zhongshan finished in 5th overall despite their problems. 3rd place, the Shaper Mo Devil team of Belgium. Plenty of silverware, and despite the fact that all the top riders were a little weary, they still had time to have a champagne war on the podium.
Second victory is fantastic for us because that proves that Le Mans was a very good race for us, and every time we want to try to win. It's not the case every time, because Brno, we was in pole, we finished 9th place after a crash. Nurburgring, we was leading the race, doing 15 laps, and we crashed too. But it's very important for the development of the championship to be present on the front.
In the championship, after 4 rounds, the Super Production World Cup looks like this. The Castrol Suzuki France team still lead the way with 100 points, but their lead is now a slender 3 points ahead of the GMT94 team with Zhongshan. If the key to endurance is consistency, efficiency and speed, GMT94 had found them all at the Nürburgring with a brilliant win.